Yeah. We've been doing a lot with whole wheat flour these days, which obviously carried over pretty quickly into my sourdough. And I've been playing around with the recipe and the process quite a bit, and I found something that I'm pretty happy with. So today I'm going to show you how I like to make whole wheat sourdough. I'm starting off with 1,000 grams here of just 100% whole wheat all-purpose flour. And with this, I'm going to be adding filtered water. What I've got here is 900 mils of water. So this is a 90% hydration dough, which is significantly higher. My usual sourdough, which has 25% whole wheat flour in it, is a 75% hydration. You can check my video on how I like to make that if you'd like. But I find that this whole wheat flour really absorbs the water quite a bit more, and it winds up with a really thick sort of dough. So going with this extra 15% of water winds up being really nice to work with without being too stiff. So I'm just going to give this a really good mix here, and when we come back you can see what it looks like. Well, there we are after, it was about 2.5 or 3 minutes of mixing there. Everything's nice and uniform. At this point it feels just a little bit more moist than my usual sourdough with that 75% hydration. So this is awesome. I'm just going to cover it up, let it sit for probably at least a couple hours in autolyse, just until my leaven is ready to go. Okay, so here is my leaven. As you can see, it's really nicely inflated and beautiful. I made this using 100% whole wheat flour as well. I mean, in addition to the starter that I put in. And it was a 1:2:2 ratio for starter to filtered water to the flour. And yeah, if you want to see my video on how I do this using just white flour, you can check that out. This was the same process and same ratios, just using whole wheat. And my dough here is nicely autolyse and ready to go. So I'm going to be adding 25% leaven to this. So for this one, I'm looking for 250 grams. Oh, just overshot it by a little bit. There we go. Awesome. So a touch more. Perfect. Okay. So now I just need to grab myself a bowl here. I forgot to prep water. I like to just wet my hands with some filtered water. I find that it makes it quite a bit easier to do this without getting sticky. So I'm just going to incorporate this here. It'll probably take about 2 minutes or so, and then we will look at it again. All right, all beautifully mixed together. So I'm just going to cover this up again. I'll wait 30 minutes. I'm just going to leave this in the kitchen, just on top of the fridge there. It's just slightly warmer. And in, like I said, 30 minutes, we'll be adding the sea salt. So we've had 30 seconds to rest, and I'm going to be adding 1.8% sea salt to this, with this fun pink salt here I'm adding in. And I'm just going to, again, moisten my fingers with some filtered water. I like to kind of poke it in a little bit, just to get that salt driven in. And I'll be mixing it here for just 2.5–3 minutes, just to make sure that that salt gets mixed all the way through here. And once that's done, I'm going to cover it back up, throw it back up on top of the fridge, and let it sit for 30 minutes, and we'll come back for the first stretch and fold. All right, so after that 30 minutes, we're ready for the first stretch and fold. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Probably get around here 6 times. I find with this whole wheat, I usually do 2 or 3 sets of stretches and folds. So after the next one, I'll see how whether I need a third or not. When we come back and start doing the coil folds, I'll let you know if I wound up doing 2 or 3 here. So yeah, I'll cover it up, and then it's 30-minute intervals in between. Okay, so I wound up doing 3 sets of stretch and folds. As of the second and the third one, I only did 4 stretches as opposed to 6 like I did initially, just because I was trying to be more gentle. Now I'm going to go ahead and do some coil folds. So I'm going to do this set here. I'm going to wait 30 minutes and do another set, and after that, we're probably ready to just let it sit until it's fully fermented. Okay, so it's been about half an hour since my second coil fold, and this is super nice and jiggly and poofy, so I believe it is time to divide and pre-shape. So I'm just going to pop it out like that. Make sure my hands are nice and floured up here for manipulating it. I'm actually going to slide around this side with my division. Do a really quick pre-shape of this. a little bit trickier because this is reasonably sticky dough. But just try and get it nice and tight, and then pop it over onto that lightly floured surface over here. And then repeat with the second one, just like so, just like this. And once this is here, I'm just going to cover them up with the bannetons inverted and give them probably about 10 minutes, and then we will get them in there and proofing in the fridge overnight. Well, it is time for the final shaping, and then we can get these in the proofing baskets. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of a rotation here to tighten them up a touch more. Okay, that one's good. I'll just kind of shoost it over there. Get number 2. And just a little bit more flour. You get your hands out of here. All right, and just do this. Nice and round, tight, perfect. So I've got these proofing baskets with the liners in them, and that's sprinkled with rice flour. Doing the same thing here with the tops of these. Popping them in, I'm going to cover them up and throw them in the fridge overnight, and then we'll bake in the morning. All right, the next morning, so the oven's been preheating at 500 for an hour. I'm just going to get these into the oven. So, a little flip. With this slightly stickier dough, it's nice to have those liners in there so they pop out super easily. Just going to do a really simple scoring pattern across the top here. Like so. And pop number 1 in. Quickly repeat. A little bit more rice flour just for the heck of it. Put this in, and once I have these in here, I'm going to cover them back up with the bottom side of these combo cookers. I'll reduce the temperature to 440 degrees, and let them sit in there for half an hour until they uncover. There we go. All right, so after the 30 minutes, I'll pop these lids off. Nice little spring there. Awesome, so I'm gonna drop the temp down to 430 and give it 25 minutes. All right, so after 25 minutes, these are all done, ready to pop out. I'm just going to let them sit for a couple of hours here before we do anything with them. There we are. Those are looking beautiful. All right, so when we come back, we will be slicing in. Well, here we are, the moment of truth, time to cut in. A little slice open here. We can take a peek. Look at that, fairly nice even crumb. Beautiful for making toast. That butter doesn't go falling through there. So this bread is amazing. It is super moist. It's got that amazing, robust whole wheat flavor. And it's good for you. So, I mean, there's no way to lose. So, until next time, folks, keep it at 11.